Welcome back, Stoics. Have you ever noticed how life has this wild way of hitting you exactly where it hurts the most? Not with the big dramatic events we see in movies, but with the quiet betrayals. The moments when someone you trusted changes their tone. The day a friend stops calling. The look in someone's eyes when you realize you're not who they thought you were, or they're not who you hoped they'd be. Life doesn't always knock you down with a punch. Sometimes it just whispers, "You're on your own now." And that's where the real story begins. See, the ancient Stoics understood something we forget all the time. They knew that suffering isn't just pain, it's information. They knew that the betrayals, setbacks, and chaos of life weren't curses. They were teachers. Brutal ones, sure, but teachers nonetheless. And if you're watching this right now, chances are you've already taken a few hits. Maybe someone walked out. Maybe someone pretended to care until it was convenient not to. Maybe life didn't go the way you thought it would. But here's the part the world never told you. These moments aren't here to break you. They're here to reveal you. This is where the first Stoic lesson begins. And it might just be the one that changes everything. Lesson 1 isn't about strength. It's about control. About understanding that the more time you waste trying to change the things that aren't yours to fix, the more power you hand to the world around you. Control is the first battlefield. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it's outside your control, let it go." Sounds simple, right? But you and I both know it's the hardest damn thing to do. Because you can't control who stays loyal. You can't control whether people tell the truth. You can't control who shows up in the storm with you, or who slips out the back door when you're drowning. But you can control what you do next. You can control what you give your energy to. You can control whether you stay broken or start rebuilding. Picture this. Someone you trusted, maybe a partner, maybe a friend, drifted away. They stopped showing up. They said one thing and did another. And instead of letting it end, you kept replaying the scenes in your head. You kept asking why. You kept trying to solve a puzzle that was never yours to complete. That's what most people do. And that's why most people stay stuck. The Stoics wouldn't tell you to numb the pain. They wouldn't tell you to distract yourself, or pretend you're fine, or act like you don't care. No, they would tell you to sit in it, to own it, to look at what hurts you and say, "I don't control this person's actions, but I control my response. I control who I become." That's lesson 1. Stop trying to control what doesn't belong to you. Start mastering what does. Life becomes 10 times lighter the moment you understand this, and 10 times clearer when you start practicing it. But the story doesn't end there. Because when you finally stop trying to control the uncontrollable, something unexpected happens. You start noticing the things you've been avoiding. The things that have been quietly steering your life from the shadows. The habits, the emotions, the reactions. The way you show up in relationships. The way you talk to yourself when no one's around. That's where the second Stoic lesson rises from the ashes. Awareness. Awareness is a double-edged sword. It shows you what's wrong, but it also shows you what you must change. You ever catch yourself reacting on autopilot? Like someone says something small, and suddenly you feel anger rising. Or maybe someone pulls away from you, and instantly, fear kicks in. Not because of what happened today, but because of everything you've been carrying for years. The Stoics believe that the worst battles happen inside your own mind, and most people lose before the fight even starts. They don't lose because life is hard. They lose because they never learned to step back and see themselves clearly. You know that moment when you're sitting alone at night, scrolling through your phone, replaying conversations, overthinking messages, wondering if you said the wrong thing or if you mattered at all? That's not weakness. That's misdirected awareness. You're shining the flashlight everywhere except the one place it matters, inward. Because here's the truth that stings a little. Most of your problems don't come from the world. They come from the way you're interpreting it. Stoic lesson 2 is brutal but freeing. If you don't understand your mind will run your life. If you don't question your thoughts will control you. The moment you start observing yourself, your impulses, your urges, your emotional triggers, something incredible happens. You stop reacting. You start responding. And that tiny gap between reaction and response, that gap is freedom. But let me take you deeper. Because the story behind these lessons is never clean. You don't learn calm until you've lived through chaos. You don't learn detachment until you've held something too tight. And you don't learn awareness until your blind spots cost you something important. Maybe you trusted someone who didn't deserve it. Maybe you ignored the signs. Maybe you kept giving chances to someone whose loyalty had an expiration date, long before you realized it. And when they finally walked away, it wasn't the loss that hurt the most. It was the shock. The realization that you saw what you wanted to see, not what was real. That's where awareness becomes your shield. Not paranoia, not cynicism. Awareness, the kind that lets you say, I see you clearly now, and I see myself more clearly too. And this leads us to the third Stoic lesson, the one that feels like betrayal, because in a way, it is. See, at some point in your life, someone is going to disappoint you, not because they're evil, but because they're human. People change, people leave, people break promises they meant to keep. And the Stoics, those ancient warriors of the inner world, taught something uncomfortable. Most of the pain you feel comes from expecting permanence in a world built on change. You expected that friend to always be there. You expected that relationship to stay the same. You expected loyalty from someone who didn't even know who they were. And so when life shifted, when people drifted, when situations changed, when the ground under your feet cracked, it felt like betrayal. But the Stoics would tell you, the world didn't betray you. Your expectation did. That's lesson 3. Detach from illusions, not people. Release expectations, not love. Accept change. Don't run from it. But before you think this is about becoming cold or emotionless, let me set the record straight. Stoicism isn't about shutting down. It's not about becoming a stone. It's about becoming steady, balanced, grounded. The kind of person who can love deeply and still let go when life demands it. The kind of person who doesn't break every time the world shifts. Imagine how different your life would be if you stopped expecting people to act a certain way, if you let them show you who they really are, if you accepted change as a natural part of life instead of a personal attack. Because here's what the Stoics understood better than anyone. When you stop resisting change, you stop suffering. But there's a deeper betrayal we need to talk about. The betrayal you commit against yourself when you settle for less. When you stay somewhere your soul has already left. When you hold onto relationships long after they've stopped feeding your spirit. When you shrink, quiet down, or choose comfort over truth. And that betrayal leads directly into the fourth Stoic lesson, initiative. See, most people complain about their life, but never change it. They wait, they coast, they hope things magically improve. They wake up every day wishing for a new reality, but continuing the same habits that created the old one. The Stoics didn't have patience for that. Epictetus said, "How long will you wait before you demand the best of yourself? Not the best from the world, not the best from your partner, not the best from your friends, the best of yourself." Maybe you've been playing small for too long. Maybe you've been letting fear make your decisions. Maybe you've been dimming your potential because someone once told you that you weren't enough. But the Stoics would ask you, when will you finally act? When will you finally choose yourself? And this is where initiative becomes more than a motivational phrase. It becomes a battle cry, a quiet rebellion against everything in your life that has kept you stuck. Imagine standing in front of a mirror and telling yourself, no more waiting, no more hoping, no more excuses. I'm taking responsibility for the life I want. That's where things shift. That's where momentum starts. That's where the old version of you begins to fall away. But I'll tell you the truth. Taking initiative isn't comfortable. It forces you to confront the fears you've been avoiding, the doubts you've buried, the dreams you've ignored because they felt too big. And yes, it forces you to walk away from certain people. Not because you stopped caring, but because they stopped growing. The Stoics weren't passive spectators of life. They were participants, warriors of action and clarity. They believed that if something was within your control, you should take responsibility for it immediately. Not tomorrow, not next week, now. That's the fourth lesson. Stop waiting for a better life. Start creating one. Action beats anxiety every single time. But there's one more lesson. The final Stoic truth that ties everything together like a thread through the fabric of your story. And this last one, it cuts deep. It's the one most people avoid because it forces you to confront the one thing you've been running from, yourself. And now we reach the point in the journey where most people turn back. The place where the world becomes quiet, your excuses fade, the noise dies down, and you finally hear the truth ringing in your chest. The truth you've avoided for years because it demanded something from you. It demanded honesty, discipline, self-respect. And that brings us to the final Stoic lesson, the one every warrior eventually has to face. Responsibility. This is where the mirror becomes the harshest teacher. You see, it's easy to point fingers, easy to blame the one who broke your heart, easy to blame the friends who betrayed your loyalty. Easy to blame the world, your childhood, your circumstances, the economy, your luck. But the Stoics believed something radically different, something that forces you to step into an uncomfortable, but incredibly powerful level of honesty. If a problem is affecting you, you are part of the equation. And if you're part of the equation, you're part of the solution. Harsh, right? Maybe, but freeing? Absolutely. Because the moment you stop blaming the world, you stop suffering. The moment you take ownership of your reactions, your mindset, your habits, your path, everything changes. Everything. Let me take you into something real, something raw, something most people feel, but never say out loud. There are two kinds of betrayals in life. The one the world commits against you, and the one you commit against yourself. And the second one, that's the one that hurts the most. You betray yourself when you let people disrespect you. You betray yourself when you silence your voice. You betray yourself when you choose comfort over growth. You betray yourself when you keep pretending you're less than you are. You betray yourself when you know your potential is massive, but you act like you don't deserve to see it. And this is the betrayal Stoicism forces you to confront. Because here's the truth. Your life will not change until you stop betraying the person you were meant to become. Responsibility is not about guilt. It's not about shame. It's not about beating yourself up. Responsibility is about reclaiming your power, your direction, your inner strength. It's about saying, yeah, life hit me hard, but I'm still in the fight, and I'm not letting the world dictate who I become. But let me tell you something even deeper, something most people avoid their whole lives. Facing yourself is the scariest battle you'll ever fight. Why? Because the world can hurt you, but the world can't force you to stay hurt. People can disappoint you, but people can't chain you forever. Life can knock you down, but life can't stop you from standing back up. The only person with the power to keep you stagnant is you, and the Stoics knew that. They wrote about it endlessly. They practiced it relentlessly. Marcus Aurelius didn't write his meditations for the world. He wrote them for himself. Private letters, private battles, private corrections, private reminders that the real emperor he had to rule was his own mind. Epictetus didn't teach elite students because he wanted praise. He taught them because he knew that freedom doesn't begin with circumstances. It begins with discipline. Seneca didn't emphasize virtue to look wise. He did it because he understood that a chaotic inner world creates a chaotic life. And you, right now, you are standing at the crossroads they wrote about. The place where you must choose, continue living in reaction, or start living in intention. Now let's talk about something most people never say out loud. You have survived everything life has thrown at you, but you haven't yet demanded the version of yourself that your future needs. You've been strong enough to endure, sure, but have you been strong enough to evolve? You see, endurance is passive, evolution is active. Endurance is survival. Evolution is rebirth, and Stoicism is the philosophy of rebirth, not through comfort, but through confrontation. Let me give you a picture. Imagine you're walking through life carrying the weight of every betrayal, every mistake, every moment someone made you feel unworthy. Some of that weight isn't yours. Some of it belongs to people who hurt you. Some of it belongs to the stories you told yourself during weak moments. And some of it you picked up because you didn't know how to put it down. But here's where the fifth Stoic lesson hits like lightning. You are responsible for the weight you continue carrying, and you are free the moment you decide to put it down. Your past is not your prison unless you keep the door locked. Your pain is not your identity unless you cling to it. Your mistakes are not your chains unless you refuse to learn from them. And this is where responsibility becomes your liberation. Not everything that happened to you was your fault, but healing, rebuilding, evolving, that's on you, and only you. The Stoics didn't romanticize the past. They didn't drown themselves in should have or could have. They didn't replay every memory like a movie full of regret. No, they focused on what they could do now, in this moment, with the life that remained. And here's where the real transformation begins, and where the deepest part of this story unfolds. Because once you take responsibility, something incredible happens. You start seeing the world with clear eyes. You realize that the person who left you set you free. The friend who betrayed you taught you discernment. The opportunity you lost redirected you towards something better. The people who doubted you forced you to believe in yourself. Most people think their pain is punishment, but with Stoic eyes, pain becomes preparation. Think about that. Life wasn't pushing you down, it was pushing you forward. Life wasn't breaking you, it was shaping you. Life wasn't taking things from you, it was clearing space. Imagine how different your life would look if you viewed every setback as training, every heartbreak as refinement, every rejection as redirection, every betrayal as clarity, every loss as evolution. Because that is exactly how Stoics saw the world. And if you saw your life through that lens, you'd stop panicking, you'd stop overthinking, you'd stop doubting your value, you'd stop pleading for loyalty, you'd stop waiting for people to act right, you'd stop chasing things that were never meant to stay. You'd move with calm, you'd move with intention, you'd move with peace, you'd move with purpose, you'd stop living like a victim and start living like a creator. Now let me bring you into the deepest emotional truth of this whole philosophy, one the Stoics rarely said directly, but always taught through their examples. Life is always preparing you for the moment you finally become who you were meant to be, but you cannot become that person if you cling to the identity that pain gave you. You cannot rise if you refuse to let go. You cannot grow if you cling to the past. You cannot elevate if you stay loyal to your wounds. You cannot transform if you are afraid to. Release the version of yourself that survived instead of the version that will thrive. And that's the next part of the journey. The moment you stop being the wounded character in your story and start becoming the author. You ever notice how life tests you right when you're about to level up? Right when you're about to walk away from the wrong people? Right when you're about to start demanding more? Right when you begin to see your worth, right when you start taking responsibility. That's not an accident. That is the universe checking your commitment. Because growth always asks, are you sure? And your answer is not in your words. It's in your actions. The Stoics knew this. They leaned into hardship. They trained their minds to be stronger than their emotions. They practiced discipline when no one was watching. They confronted their shadows when it was uncomfortable. They chose virtue over validation. They chose clarity over chaos. They chose self-respect over people-pleasing. And now you stand in that same arena, face to face with the future version of yourself, the one who is stronger, wiser, calmer, more grounded, more capable, more powerful than the person you've been up until now. But here's the twist, and this is where most people fall. In order to reach that version, you must betray the weaker version of yourself, the one who settles, the one who doubts, the one who avoids responsibility, the one who clings to the past, the one who fears the unknown more than they fear staying stagnant. Stoicism requires a beautiful betrayal, the betrayal of your old self, because unlike the betrayals that hurt you, this one sets you free. You must betray the version of you that tolerates disrespect. You must betray the version of you that procrastinates. You must betray the version of you that makes excuses. You must betray the version of you that avoids discomfort. You must betray the version of you that waits for life to get easier. You must betray the version of you that hands your power to people who don't deserve it. This betrayal is not cruel. This betrayal is rebirth. Now you are reaches turning point from where responsibility becomes not a burden, but a weapon that frees you from your past, a weapon that strengthens your future, a weapon that cuts through every illusion you once clung to, a weapon that turns you into someone who cannot be shaken. Someone who is unbreakable not because nothing hurts them, but because nothing controls them. And in part 3, we take all 5 Stoic lessons: control, awareness, acceptance of change, initiative, and responsibility, and bring them together into a transformation arc that will hit your audience emotionally, spiritually, psychologically, and deeply. And now we arrive at the point where everything that came before, the betrayals, the lessons, the losses, the moments you stood alone, begins to make sense. The moment when you finally see that every chapter of your life, even the painful ones, were preparing you for who you must become. Because here's the truth no one tells you. Transformation doesn't happen in the sunlight. Transformation happens underground, in the dark, in the seasons of silence where no one claps for you, in the nights where you question everything, in the mornings where you have to drag yourself forward because giving up would be easier. And the Stoics understood this better than anyone. They knew that strength doesn't grow from comfort, it grows from struggle. Peace doesn't come from avoidance, it comes from mastery. Wisdom doesn't come from perfection, it comes from pain. And right now, you're standing at the point in your journey where all 5 Stoic lessons converge into a single truth. You are capable of far more than the world has ever shown you, and far more than you have ever allowed yourself to believe. Look back at the life you've lived so far, not with regret, not with shame, but with clarity. Look at everything you've survived. Look at every person you lost, every time you were abandoned, every time someone betrayed you, Every hardship life threw at you, you're still here. You're still breathing. You're still fighting. You're still becoming. Think about that. There were moments you thought would destroy you. Moments you thought you wouldn't recover from. Nights you cried quietly because you didn't want anyone to know you were hurting. Days where you showed up even though your heart was heavy. Times where you swallowed the pain because you didn't have anyone to share it with. Seasons where you felt unseen, unheard, misunderstood, unappreciated, and yet, you're here. Not broken, not defeated, not done, just unfinished. Still rising, still becoming, still evolving. And this is where the 5 Stoic lessons fuse into your transformation. First, you learned control. You learned that the world will spin, people will change, life will shift, and chaos will happen, but you remain responsible for your response. You learn that trying to control what isn't yours only drains your spirit, while controlling yourself rebuilds it. Then you learned awareness. You learned to stop sleepwalking through your emotions, to stop reacting without understanding why. You learned to observe your mind so you can steer your life. You learned to shine the flashlight inward rather than outward. After that came acceptance of change. You learned that the world wasn't betraying you. Your expectations were. You learned that nothing is permanent, and that peace comes when you embrace the natural flow of life instead of resisting it. You learned to love without clinging, to care without controlling, to appreciate without demanding. Then came initiative, the turning point. You learned that you can't wait for life to get better. You have to move. You have to act. You have to demand more from yourself. You have to stop wishing and start building. The Stoics didn't wait for clarity. They created it through action. And finally, responsibility. The lesson most people avoid. The one that requires courage. The one that forces you to face yourself and say, I am the author of this story now. I'm done blaming the world. I'm done betraying myself. I'm done waiting. I'm ready to evolve. Now imagine something with me. Imagine walking forward into your next chapter with a new level of strength. A kind of quiet power that doesn't need to yell or prove anything. A kind of presence that comes from knowing yourself deeply. A kind of peace that comes from understanding that life is not happening to you. Life is responding to you. Because here's the truth. When you master these 5 lessons, something extraordinary happens. Life becomes simpler. Not easier, but clearer. Not softer, but more meaningful. Not perfect, but deeply aligned. You stop chasing people who don't value you. You stop overreacting to things that don't matter. You stop expecting loyalty from people who can't offer it. You stop replaying the past. You stop apologizing for your worth. You stop betraying your potential. And instead, you start walking with intention. You start choosing people who choose you. You start setting boundaries without guilt. You start controlling your reactions. You start creating your future instead of fearing it. You start healing without needing closure from anyone. You start directing your energy into things that actually matter. You become someone who doesn't run from the storm, but stands tall in the middle of it. Someone who doesn't crumble under pressure, but sharpens under it. Someone who doesn't get lost in emotions, but navigates them with wisdom. Someone who is unshakable, not because life is easy, but because you've learned how to stand. Let me take you even deeper. When you truly understand these Stoic lessons, you develop a rare kind of strength, the kind the modern world can't easily break. Have you ever met someone who just doesn't fold? Someone who remains calm under stress? Someone who doesn't get pulled into drama? Someone who doesn't chase, doesn't beg, doesn't cling? Someone who can love deeply but still let go when life demands it? Someone who doesn't fear loss because they know they can rebuild anything they lose? That person isn't born. They're shaped, forged, created through struggle, discipline, clarity, resilience, and courage. That's the kind of person Stoicism trains you to become. And whether you realize it or not, you're already on that path. Because if you weren't, you wouldn't still be listening right now. Something inside you knows you're meant for more. Something inside you is tired of feeling held back by your emotions. Tired of being controlled by fear. Tired of repeating the same lessons with different people. Tired of giving your heart to the wrong hands. Tired of carrying weight that isn't yours. Tired of surviving when you know damn well you're meant to thrive. So let this be the moment you shift. Let this be the moment you say, I'm done living the old way. I'm done settling for less. I'm done allowing life to drag me. I'm taking the lead now. Let this be the moment you step into your power. Because here's the secret the Stoics lived by. The one that the modern world desperately needs. The most powerful person in any room is the one who has mastered themselves. not the loudest, not the richest, not the strongest physically, not the one with the biggest ego. The most powerful person is the one who controls their mind, the one who manages their emotions, the one who understands themselves, the one who refuses to be moved by chaos, the one who chooses virtue, clarity, effort, courage, and reason, even when it's difficult. That person will win every time, because nothing external can destroy them. Not gossip, not heartbreak, not disappointment, not failure, not betrayal, because they know who they are and who they are becoming, and now, so do you. But before we close this journey, let me return to the beginning, to the betrayal, the disappointment, the pain that shaped you. You didn't go through all of that for nothing. Your suffering wasn't pointless. Your heartbreak wasn't meaningless. Your pain wasn't random. Everything you lived through brought you to this moment, to this lesson, to this awakening, to this new version of yourself emerging from the ashes. And now you get to choose what happens next. Not your past, not the people who hurt you, not the circumstances that blindsided you. You choose how you respond. You choose who you become. You choose what you release. You choose what you build. You choose where your story goes next. Because the world can take many things from you: money, opportunities, relationships, security, comfort. But the world cannot take your will. That belongs to you, always, unconditionally, unbreakably. So let this be your turning point. Let this be the chapter where your story changes direction. Let this be the moment where you start living intentionally instead of accidentally. Let this be the season where you reclaim your energy, your clarity, your peace, your power. And if you ever doubt yourself, remember this: you don't have to be perfect to be powerful. You just have to be willing to change, willing to grow, willing to let go, willing to try again, willing to rise, willing to evolve. Because evolution is not a single moment, it's a lifestyle, a commitment to becoming the strongest, wisest, calmest version of yourself again and again and again. And when you live this way, problems stop feeling like problems. They start feeling like puzzles. They start feeling like training. They start feeling like opportunities. They start feeling like catalysts. You stop asking, why me? And you start saying, try me. You stop panicking when things fall apart. And you start building something better. You stop fearing endings. And you start trusting new beginnings. You stop looking for a savior. And you start becoming one for yourself. That is the heart of Stoicism. Not just to survive the storm, but to stand in it with so much courage, clarity, and inner strength that the storm begins to fear you. And now, warrior, your story continues. Carry these 5 Stoic lessons with you: control, awareness, acceptance, initiative, and responsibility. And your life will shift in ways you can't even imagine yet. You will solve more problems than you ever thought possible. Not because life gets easier, but because you get stronger. And one day, sooner than you think, you'll look back at the version of you who struggled, who cried quietly, who questioned everything, who felt lost, who carried so much weight, who kept trying even when it hurt. And you'll whisper, thank you, you kept going. And because of you, I became this. Now, if this message hit your heart, if something in this resonated with your story, if you felt something shift inside you, tell me in the comments. Share your thoughts, your experiences, your perspective. I read them. I feel them. I appreciate them. And if you want more Stoic wisdom that helps you stay grounded, disciplined, focused, and unshakable in a chaotic world, watch the other videos on this channel. Each one is a new chapter of strength. And if you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe to Stoic Spark and hit that bell icon, so you never miss the daily Stoic wisdom that can transform your mind, your emotions, and your life. Because this journey isn't over. It's just beginning. And you, warrior, you are just getting started.